Hi, welcome to a rant about the stun meta. Now, first, what the hell is a meta? Well, it's the ideal way to accomplish something in a game. For example, the meta way to stop smelling is to take a shower, you disgusting fucking swamp monster. But really, a meta is kind of defined by three questions, which you can really ask any strategy, and if all three are better than, well, every other strategy, then it's probably the meta. The first one, how effective is it? The second one, how many resources / effort / whatever do you need to put into it? And how often and how easily is it countered? For example, the engineering meta for power is a thermoelectric generator. It's powerful enough to power everything. It takes just burnable fuel, which can be plasma or anything else really, which is readily available thanks to the gas binders. Sabotage by an antagonist usually just superheats the TEG room or just disables it, really. In comparison, the ambient solars both don't power enough, so they're not the meta. The Tesla and Singulo both take maintenance and will cause the end of the station if left alone or sabotaged. And the SM requires maintenance, but any minor fuck-up will cause half the stage to be irradiated. So, the TEG is the meta. Now, is the TEG being the meta a bad thing? Are metas bad? Not on their own, no. The issue only exists when a meta is less fun than other options available, or completely and utterly takes over every other option and makes every other option inviable by just how powerful the stun meta is. Oh, sorry. I let it slip. Yeah, the stun meta is fucking boring. But before I get to explaining why, let me highlight a couple things here. One, I will not be accepting arguments that base themselves on Space Station 13's combat system whatsoever, because these are different games. Flat out. Like, sure, the basis is the same, sure, many of the mechanics are very much the same, but combat is the one thing that 14 and 13 have very different due to the base engine. Obviously. None of my arguments are going to stem from sec or antag balance either. They will stem from how they interact, but I'm not implying either side should be, better or weaker or whatever. I don't know. Like, maybe sex should be better, maybe, antag should be better. I'm not here to discuss that because that's a lot of opinions. I'm here to discuss why one aspect of the game sucks, not if one aspect of the game is balanced. And I don't know if some meta is balanced or not, frankly. I just know it's boring. 3. If your server differs from what I'm saying, let me know. Can't play on every server. And if there's a reason your server doesn't have this problem or has this problem worse, I want to know. I want to know a lot. So, what does the stun meta really cause? And I'll be going over the effects of it, not what it really is. Actually, I should kind of explain this. Basically, disablers and stun batons are the ideal weapons for pretty much every situation, 90% of the time. With the exception of certain antagonists who have to pre-prepare to deal with the disabler and stun baton, there's pretty much no reason to not exclusively use the two of them. The stun baton is a 3-shot stun, the disabler is a 4-shot stun, and most other weapons either can't kill as fast as the disabler or stun baton, with kill being effectively winning the engagement, being a kill here. Not actually killing the person, obviously. And yeah, I just think that in a 1v1 situation, there's no greater meta than the stun baton or the disabler. Why would you use anything else? Anyway, the effects of the stun meta, one of them, it's actually pretty good. It's a good thing. There's fewer trips to med during arrests, which are generally a waste of time and not very interesting for anyone involved. Yeah, that's about it. Anyway, on to the bad shit. So, firstly, we have the IRL parody with, how do I explain this? Okay, let me ask you a simple question. Is it easier in real life to get a guy on the ground and handcuff them, or to shoot them with a rifle from range? The answer is obvious. However, in Space Station, there's this weird thing where you can just shrug off most basic wounds, which is getting into a whole nother issue where most damage isn't really that damaging, which I think might be the reason why the stun meta is so prevalent, but that requires discussion of game design, and I'm far too stupid for that. Anyway, it's easier to arrest someone in-game than it is to kill them 90% of the time. This shifts a lot of how the game is really played in terms of combat. Combat with security officers should be a last resort for pretty much any antagonist. It should be something to be feared. Combat should be feared. Your character in a roleplay environment should fear pain. If they don't fear pain, then why the hell wouldn't they just run into combat anyway? Why would they not resist every arrest? And yes, I do know that this will result in people actively saying, I'm just going to shoot the guy. And I think that's a good thing. I think more conflict between crew and security officers having to make the choice to jump to shooting a guy to arrest them should happen more often. I think that's a good thing. Besides that, though, we're going to get into the next problem, which is much worse. Standoffs fucking suck. Here's the thing. In a proper roleplay environment, you should fear hurt and pain, obviously. And this happens in real life too. Cops, I hate using cops as a term, but cops, military people, and people in engagements don't want to get shot. The people they are trying to accomplish a goal against also don't want to get shot. This is why standoffs happen. Essentially, why would a cop bother trying to rush you down and arrest you if they're afraid of you shooting them? So they both play it cool, they both stand there, yell their demands at each other, try to negotiate something. Standoffs at SS14 are, well, will this person rush me with a stun baton before I even get the chance to, deal with them? Like, period. Just straight up. Every single standoff just sucks. I have pretty much seen one hostage situation work out. Sorry, two. Both of them involve the security officer actively choosing to not engage with the antagonist and not rushing them. Could they have? Yes. 100%. 100% in these situations, the security officer could have rushed the antagonist and gotten what they wanted. 100%. Did they choose to? No. But they shouldn't have to choose. The game should incentivize the players to not want to kill each other, but instead to try and get stuff done without killing each other. Again, this is probably an issue that stems from medical being in a terrible spot and most people being revivable for pretty much like every kind of damage. Like just straight up. But yeah, pretty much every single standoff is determined by, will the security team choose to roleplay this out and actively not engage with the antag and win by rushing them, or will the antagonist just choose to say, oh, I'm just going to get rushed, I might as well just kill them. Both sides are incredibly paranoid, and both sides have to go, will my attempt to roleplay this and make this more interesting result in me dying? Because we both have to rely on the stun meta. And God forbid an antag gets the disabler or stun baton, which they do from slipping very often, which then results in this being even worse. Where being a screen away from someone puts you at the exact same risk of getting bum rushed as not. Through glass as well. through glass as well. The third one, and I feel like this is an even bigger one, antags have to be designed around the stun meta. I'm going to talk about 3, but pretty much every antagonist has felt this at some point. So, essentially, Heretic, their main ability on all paths is a one-shot stun. The cults, Blood Cult, has a one-shot stun. Their entire game plan is walk up, do the evil grrr, I'm Antag, I make you fall over, and stun you, and then cuff you. And that's it. That's not interesting. The Cosmic Cult also has this, except theirs is a reality shun, which is a little bit cooler, but effectively still just a one-shot stun. So, we have 3 antags, disgusting cultists, bringing in dark magics to the station and actively making them, like, you know, worse to try to summon the gods, in one case becoming a god, in another case being, you know, summoning a god. Their main tool of killing you is a one-shot stun. That's not fucking interesting. That's boring and lazy. Come on, really? That's boring? That's lazy. It's uninteresting for both the antagonist, the victim, and the security team. Because we have to end up involving the stun meta, we have to end up making the antags at least able to counter the stun meta. We result in the antags being uninteresting. Because when stuns are the best option, the only thing that's better than them is a one-shot stun. Because again, I will reiterate this. Unless you have a teammate around, which even if you do have a teammate around, people who know how to use the stun meta properly will be able to get around that. You need at least 3 people to counter someone like me or several other players who know how to deal with the stun meta. Anyways, let's go on to the 4th one, which I think is probably the worst. Let's talk motivations. Because number 4, I feel like this is probably the biggest one. Your character doesn't have a motivation to not engage with the nuclear operatives. Not talking about the nuclear operatives to be specific, but the nuclear operatives are a scary thing. They're supposed to be terrifying. If you, a normal crew member, run into the nuclear operatives, you should not feel confident in having a chance of taking down a nuclear operative with a stun baton that you stole from a dead Psychoth. At all. And the stun meta, being the meta, means that, well, flat out, you're always capable of taking someone down. If a security officer sees any antagonist doing anything, they have a reasonable chance of actually winning the engagement, regardless of the fact that they have their dinky little shit pistol. They have a chance of winning. Instead of backing up, calling for help, like a smart Psychoth should do, they stand a legitimate chance of just rushing in and winning, and I think that's really fucking boring. Now, I've complained a lot here, but what do I think are some solutions for this issue? Because there's a lot of problems with security with the stun meta, with security officers playing around it, with antags playing around it. So what's the solution? Yeah. First off, I think a general armor flat stun immunity should be applied. I think that there should be no situation in which you should be able to become stunned when you're wearing even just basic security officer armor. There would have to be a pass in which armors are identified as this should be stun immune, or this should not be stun immune. I don't think there should be a particular chance or a particular time where a stun baton or a disabler should be able to take down someone in armor, ever. I do not think that should be a thing. I think, in fact, every single hard suit should be immune to stuns. Every hard suit, because they're hard suits, not soft suits. They're meant to be tanky. You know, they're meant to be able to take a bit of, bit of damage. I think the next solution here, lower the amount of ammo both the stun baton and disabler have. Currently, they both sit at 20 swings and 20 shots apiece. Lower them to like 10. I think that there should be, again, no situation in which a security officer should be able to miss a significant number of shots and still be able to arrest someone. I think that arresting someone should be made into a much more difficult thing, where slowing the person down through flashes, through bolas, through tear gas, even stun baton, or sorry, not stun batons, cluster bangs, stingers, any other option, I think those should be required to do a proper arrest on someone that isn't right in front of you. I think that is a much bigger issue. And I think that security officers should have to come back to base more. This would incentivize also other good general things, such as security officers showing up to base more to talk with their fellow sec-offs, showing up to base more to check in with the warden. And you're probably going to say this will require more rechargers, which, minor tangent, why the fuck can NT make like a fucking ball of death in the corner? But if we want to choose 2 batteries at the same time, that's just out of the question. Like, hell, for my Xbox controller, I have a thing that can charge 4 batteries for it at once, so when one runs out of power, I can just hot swap it. How do I have this technology, but Nanotrezin doesn't? Like, come on here. Are we being serious? Anyway, yeah, this was a raid video that I honestly thought I'd have more to say about. Like, the thing is, like, the stun meta is such a pervasive thing, but now that I'm really thinking about it, it really doesn't have that many obvious downsides, and I kind of understand why people say that they don't think it's that big of an issue. Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. This, the channel members, yeah. Flubbergaster, User Face Test, Loltarts, Kitty Cat, Doorstar, Plenty 43, Westward, Philbatumo, and Sather Lapin. The next video I make will very likely be on Deadlock, because I'm really enjoying Deadlock. Like, seriously, I've been very much enjoying Deadlock. Might stream it. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.